Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 5, SEO UnMasked. Today is August 31st, 2017. Thanks for joining us. I'm Garrett's Groff.
And I'm Steve Brownlee, and we are VINless tonight, so no word agents representative.
No, just us two.
Shocking.
We have a viewer though, so it's 3 of us.
He had, I hear he had 50k on McGregor, so he's just licking those wounds a little bit now.
So 50k on McGregor to lose in the 11th round, or whatever. What round was it?
It was halfway through the 10th, wasn't it? I think the bookies won because the bookies were favouring the under on 9.5, and I think he stopped him just before the 9.5. So
close. It's actually kind of amazing how bet shops and bookies in general can really. Not this, obviously one fight sample size isn't huge, but generally, they're pretty close on where their money needs to be.
Yeah, they spend a lot of money. I mean, the guys that work in those, because I used to work at a bookies, the guys that work in the odds room, it's like a trading floor. They have there's all these data feeds, and if the cleaner noticed some unusual stuff in McGregor's trash can, they'd get a tip.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense, the amount of information they've got. So you better be really smart or know something if you're going to put a bet on and think you're going to beat bet in the long run.
Yeah.
Go Vegas.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah. Anyways, I don't know. We got some shit in the news this week. I don't know. Kind of the first one here was something that you found on Builder Society that Rizaki shared. It's kind of in my opinion, it's really a throwback to how good advertising works, and they use an example of just for link building, but not necessarily making something go viral, which it has, but something that everyone's going to pick up on, remember, talk about, which I guess is going viral, but pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. I thought you'd like this one. That's why I pinned it up on the channel. I mean, I think what was good about it was you can't see anything unless you go offline to view the page and stuff. It's just kind of but I mean, it just went so crazy. I mean, 273 referring domains to a page that when you first go to it, it's like, yeah, you can't see anything here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And I think what Garrett's saying there is 100% right. I mean, I think if you do link bait that's just kind of good, you're going to get kind of good results, which is great. I mean, you do well from that. You do a kind of good one every week. You pitch it. You do really well. That's what most of our clients do. But if you're looking to step up in your career, which is great. I mean, you do well from that. You do. I'm echoing.
Yeah. Sorry.
If you want to move up in your career at a big agency, rather than working as an SEO, just doing medium-sized campaigns, you've got to be able to execute campaigns that are a little bit more interesting. And the overlap with people often think the overlaps with PR. I kind of wanted to show this one because, like Garrett said straight away when he looked at it, the overlap's not with PR. The overlap here is with clever advertising. And I think that's a skill that not enough people in the SEO industry focus on. I mean, anyone who's an SEO you meet, they're more likely to be a pay-per-click, AdWords guy than they are to be an advertiser that does, real creative. And I know everyone's swearing that loves pay-per-click and thinks their creative is amazing now, but let's be honest, you've got a few words. You can be very good in a few words. You can't change the world with what you've written there. People either click it or they don't, but it's not the same. And I think people neglect the skills around advertising a lot, and I think you can execute a campaign like this and get 270. I mean, what's the cost per link on this?
Fucking
27 cents or something.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a $500. This is a $500 page or something. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So
I haven't even looked at it offline. Does it actually do something or what?
Oh, I'm far too lazy for that, man. I just looked at the stats on Ahrefs. I'm not going offline. I think I have some kind of immediate panic attack if I go offline. So.
Yeah, true.
We can't do it now. Well, I guess we could. It'd look pretty weird for the.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Maybe if we had like 1 million viewers and we actually pause the show just to check it out.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Um,
All right, guys. So you heard it first. We'll reveal what that link bait is once we have 1 million likes. So smash that like button.
speaking of ads, Gary was covering some, or not Gary, Barry over at the round table covering some shit from Dr. Pete, who started to notice um, uh, like you have your not the map pack, but let's say a specific restaurant, for example, you want to go to, and you type it in, and it'll have the little knowledge box on the side. You can now kind of like run ads through it, like in this case here for Parlor Live Bellevue, the comedy club. If you have something on Groupon, Google is now integrating um, discounts or whatever, and pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great spot for people.
Yeah.
The price there is going to be a little bit cheaper than some other places initially because it's new. So you want to jump if you're already spending a lot with AdWords. You want to get on some of these new placements and opportunities. It's kind of like when Gmail first came out. It was just easy money because no one was doing it, and then 5 years later, Will Reynolds did like a Search Love presentation where he was saying, "Oh, and then the pay-per-click guys told me you can advertise against Gmail." It's like, yeah, a little bit late to the party, but thanks for. I can see how this made it onto the card of a major search conference. Let's talk about 5-year-old pay-per-click clips from an SEO guy, not a pay-per-click guy. Good stuff. Thanks, Distilled, for that one. That was a great one to sit through. But yeah, jump on these new spots when Google brings them out because they will be cheaper initially, but don't fall in love with them too much because they'll get super expensive. Or, if this doesn't work out for Google, or if it's distracting clicks away from other stuff, they might just axe it without warning as well. So jump on, but don't bet your house on it and hire 20 staff to do a new type of ad or whatever.
How angry do you think this is going to make the SEO community for no reason? Just because, like, oh my God, they found my client locally, and now they're not even going to the website; they're just going directly to Groupon. But realistically,
I think what I've seen people getting angry about on Twitter, because as you know, I kind of follow the SEO community on Twitter more. You kind of follow Barry in the forums a bit more than I do. People have been really raging on the fact that Google's messaging was so conflicted. It was originally claiming to be scraping all this knowledge graph stuff from Yelp and Wikipedia and all this stuff just to give knowledge and to give the users what they wanted. Obviously, they must have known that at some point they could run ads against it, but initially they said, it's not an ad, it's not going to show ads, it's not anti-competitive, it's not doing this, and they put ads in. I think the frustration with Google is in people I don't think feel like they can really trust anything that's the official position anymore.
True, very true. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm not sure how many of us ever like really trusted them, but I think Matt Cutts, I would say, definitely never lied. He often didn't answer a question, but I don't think anything he ever said wasn't true. I'm not accusing them all of lying now, but I think the level of straightforwardness of the messaging is much more difficult to decipher these days than it used to be, and I think that winds a lot of people up.
Now, to me personally, and I could be very wrong, but you look at guys like Gary Iles and whoever his other kind of like chain in command is. Matt Cutts, like you said, he wouldn't always answer you, but if he would answer, and he'd be pretty straight up and just tell you what the deal was if he answered. It's just like Gary and that, I can't remember the other guy's name, are always just hiding. They never. It's like, why the fuck do they even have their position?
You're thinking of John Mueller, aren't you?
Yeah. It's like they might as well just not ever be online because they never really answer a question other than, oh, just do what's natural, or just do this, or Matt Cutts would at least be like, explain, like, because what we're gonna get into later is the idiocracy of people. Matt would explain actually like what you need to do to be natural, or not like do it, but this is why this is natural and this is why this isn't, and I don't know.
And he had quite a funny sense of humor as well.
Yeah.
Some of his tweets were pretty awesome. He had a bit of a yeah. Don't call him out on anything. Like if you tell him he's an idiot, he will stalk you down and see what you're really up
No,
to. And
I actually think he's a relatively intelligent guy. That
oh, I think
probably,
he's hugely more intelligent than
yeah.
me. Anyway, I think he's like
I
he's got to
think he
be.
got
I
caught
mean,
up in,
I'd say he's got to be like 180 IQ or plus. Some kind of
like,
genius.
so is he? Oh, he has a. I was just kind of curious what he ended up doing because I guess what
He's with the
sounds.
U.S. government now, working on defense
Yeah,
data
I
or
see
something.
that. Yeah.
Sounds right up his street. Good thing for him
Yeah,
to get
I
in.
always kind of had a feeling he was just sick of the bureaucracy at Google, and I guess that sounds conflicting going to something as bureaucratic as the United States government, but
Well, I guess defense has a lot more autonomy than probably he
yeah,
did at Google.
yeah,
Yeah.
he can just do
Well, I think
whatever
his
he
big
wants.
frustration. I mean, when you kind of knew he was going when some of his tweets and messages were coming out anti-Google. You know, like they would give the message that 50% ads above the fold was bad, and they would penalize you. Then they brought out an update that pushed everything below the fold on mobile, and you could really see his frustration when that kind of stuff was happening, and when he was at panels talking because he didn't agree with it.
You're right.
He was fighting that spam, and the company he worked for was delivering that spam on
Yep.
their own search engine because they could get away with it because they were big enough.
Yep.
You know, you could see the frustration on
Yeah.
his side for sure. I mean, that's can't have been a lot of fun being the whipping boy for SEOs and not even fully agreeing with some of the stuff that was happening. Must have been tiresome, I think. But
Yeah.
he was a kind of I don't know. I think he's missed. I kind of enjoyed him being around. He was a good guy, and he certainly helped us because we had like no business back in the old days. You know, when no one was doing white hat and no one wanted any outreach. It was like, so where's your PBN, boys? And we didn't have one because that's not what we do. And things really picked up for us when Penguin came along and people started thinking, well, this PBN stuff's not so cool anymore. And what do you mean my link wheel with a triangle in the middle isn't deceptive enough? I've got to put in 3 triangles now or whatever. I don't know. It was all just craziness back then. And Matt Cutts did us a lot of favors, encouraging people to, make some good content and do some outreach because they tried it. It's kind of hard. And then they come to us, which is cool. So he's kind of missed because he created our business and got people interested in doing outreach instead of PBNs and stuff. So
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Owe you a beer. See it ungagged if you ever go again.
yeah, I guess he doesn't. Gary Ills is talking at Brighton SEO.
Is he?
Yeah, I read some reviews of his previous presentations. He apparently delivers a long rant about Google's mission statement, ethics, and values, and then refuses to take questions and leaves. So, if that's what I'd try and find some more reviews. But if that's kind of the vibe, then I don't think I'll be staying for that keynote. I think I'll be at the bar along the seafront until the after party for that, I think. If you're down at Brighton SEO, though, hit me up on Twitter at SD Brownlee. Let me know where you're drinking, and I will come join you for a beer. Because I will be having a beer.
Yeah. Yeah, that should just whatever. Yeah, and then you had found in the news too. Bloomberg even covered this. Well, I guess it's not. It's just straight up business related. Google's actually going to start doing stuff to avoid fines for once. They're not just going to take the fines on the chin. So
it was a pretty hefty fine, and I think it goes up.
Again?
It was
2.7 billion?
2.4 billion euros, yeah, and I think it can go up like $1 billion every 30 days or something if they don't. It says in here somewhere it's some huge amount every day. It goes up until they comply. Just trying to quickly find it here. Yeah, I can't find it in the Bloomberg article now, but yeah, huge fine. Basically, what it comes down to is in Europe, they're going to be forced to, instead of, you look at the moment, you search for a product on Google and it's just Google shopping ads at the top, the product listing ads. There's going to be ads from other providers in Europe now. So that'll be.
So is the reasoning behind this that
eBay, I guess, or
it's like, well, so it's Google. They're their own company. They've invested all this time and money, 2 decades worth of work coming up here. So what if they show their own ads? I mean, I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, is it just because they have a monopoly?
Yeah, here's how the whole because I can answer this one because I used to work in business banking. Here's how the whole antitrust thing and all of that kind of stuff's supposed to work. So say I'm the biggest supermarket in the world and I'm worth $1 trillion or something. Just like Walmart was worldwide. I decide, oh, do you know, there's a lot of money in plumbing, so I'm going to wipe out every plumber in the world. So I'm going to just be the cheapest plumber. I'm going to lose $100 billion a year until all the other plumbers are gone, and then I'm going to jack my prices up. So I've got nothing to do with plumbing, but I'm able to just become the biggest plumber because I've got more money from some other industry. So all that kind of stuff, the anti-monopoly, antitrust laws, all that kind of stuff, is to stop people dominating an industry that isn't their core industry just because they have shitloads of money in their core industry. So Google can become the biggest flights provider, biggest travel agent affiliate. Yeah. They can become the biggest credit card affiliate. They can become the biggest online shop.
Anything.
If they're allowed to, if they're allowed to just take their advertising profit and dick it all off, making massive losses till everyone else goes out of business, it actually stops proper competition and innovation in those sectors because their worst product is being forced into a position where it can compete when it wouldn't ever compete in an open market. That's the point of those laws.
So this is only going to happen in Europe, right? It's not even on the table.
Well, I think it'll have a knock-on effect if because other countries will take a fancy to it. I know a lot of the Asian countries are uncomfortable with the dominance of American tech companies, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few copycat decisions around the world, and then Google comes under pressure in America too. I mean, there's a huge... I read an article today, actually. There's one of the lobbying groups, I can't remember what it's called now, but they were Google funded, and they're supposed to be like a left-wing pro-Google lobbying group, and Google funds them, and part of their group, they're called Open something, Open Data or Open Talk, I don't know. They sacked the whole team that was doing that piece of research and project after they did a piece that was anti-Google. Now, of course, the official line is it was because of their attitude and cooperative approach within the group. It just was very conveniently timed after Google sent them a letter saying they were displeased with the content. So again, that's just another example of the same thing, that this judgment's looking to reduce, just using money to dominate things that you're not supposed to have anything to do with.
Makes sense. Seems fair.
So I think the more Google gets caught not even doing anything wrong, I mean, that's how politics works. You spend money until the PR from doing it gets worse than the results that you get from whatever you're doing. I think the PR from what they're trying to do will get worse than what they're getting out of it at some point, and there will be some compromises. I mean, even Microsoft ended up having to bail out Apple so that they would keep an operating system competitor. Yeah, so they'll have to do something to make it look like there's not just rampant abuse, and because no one has a choice. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like, what other phone are you supposed to have? You can have an Apple or you can have an Android.
Yeah.
And they pay Apple crap loads of money to keep Google as the default search engine. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, so they do have a really powerful position. So I think it's a sensible ruling. I mean, what will happen in the long run, who knows? But more competition's usually good. So I'd hope.
Right. Well, it drives innovation. And usually it's small people that have great ideas can never, ever either just get the final research done, they can't bring it to market. It's not even small people. Google can just stop everybody.
Yeah, and the problem is a lot of their stuff's not even that good. I mean...
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like their weather information is super basic and not that good, and but it's killing the money from the people who provide the better information, so they can't afford to profitably provide the better information people actually want. So it depresses the quality of the whole market if you take the money out without adding any of the value back in. Which is ironic because they're a huge, in the software world, they're a huge open source contributor. Like they built AngularJS and things like that, and it's licensed on much more reasonable terms than React, which is Facebook's open source, if you can call the license on that open source.
Yeah, that'll be the next thing they cut off too.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. No. But anyway, we better not get into Facebook because I'll just go on a massive rant and then we'll let's move along.
I think you had saw something from SEMrush.
Yeah, it was just really interesting. They just crawled like huge number of sites and just to find the 40 most common technical SEO mistakes. And 17% of sites had like incorrect configuration of their domain. So
So
they'd
like
like
forwarding from www
yeah, either they had
just
both
to like
still indexed or like half of the sites forwarding, half it's just all kinds of random stuff like that. And then obviously a third of those, it just was in a loop. So the site wasn't even loading properly at all. So you'd have pictures not loading, links not working. I mean, that's just a huge. So it's really just the headline numbers were a shock. I mean, the broken internal links as well. A third of sites have broken internal links. I kind of want to scrape all of our sites now and just make sure we're probably okay on the broken internal links on most of them, but I bet we've got loads of dead links to stuff that others, just general link rot where people have taken their content down.
right.
Except for my blog, when I took my whole blog down, there's anything that links to that's broken now because all those articles are gone now from the old days.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just the headline numbers. I mean, I think people kind of rant and rave about technical SEO being a waste of money, but if you haven't got the time, if you depend on search and you haven't got the time to fix it yourself, paying a freelancer to come in for 20 hours and just tidy this crap up for you is just a huge investment. Because say you're an e-commerce store or something, even if you're a small store, 3% a year is going to be worth it for you to pay someone for 20 hours. So if your site's not performing as well as you'd like, it's kind of like, well, you can see why when you look at some of these numbers.
Yeah, I mean, like redirecting www just to like reachcreator.com versus www.reachcreator.com redirects to reachcreator.com is a very simple HTTP rewrite. Like it's global, it's 2 lines that you can just copy paste off of like a million tutorials that you can Google. Super simple shit that is small but really adds up. If you're not doing one of these, you're probably not doing all of them right, and all that shit adds up to like 30% of your rankings, and you're just fucked.
Yeah, I think people underestimate the little things that add up. It's like if you speak to someone about poker and say, how do you win in poker, and they're a fish or a recreational player, they always say, oh, it's the big bluffs, it's those big hands you win.
Fuck that.
Winning in poker is just it's making tiny right decisions. It's like betting
$3 more versus or like maybe $3 less.
Betting 27 into a $40 pot. If the time the person folds to that bluff is is the same or nearly the same from the two, you save $3 a hand every time you get called. If you do that instead of betting 30 into 40, it's just tiny little decisions,
and if you're playing 10,000 hands a month, that's quite a bit of fucking money.
Yeah, I'll take 30,000 a month from poker. I'll tell you. So
right.
Bring back the old days. But yeah, people just don't understand that these tiny little things add up to huge amounts. You won't even notice the first month you fix something like that, you get 0.5% benefit. It could have just been variance. Maybe you go down 3% because you just had a quieter month that month and you think it's done nothing. Right. But you keep making cumulative improvements and make your site better, easier for Google to index. Sorry, Bing, no one really cares if you indexes anymore. No, Bing's pretty big in some parts of the world, and obviously Yandex, don't know where people are listening. I mean, in Europe, Bing's smaller than the US. I think they still have about 22% in the US, don't they, roughly?
I thought it was more. I guess I haven't probably looked at the stats for a year, but I thought Bing did have more by now. But
apparently us Brits are the most pro-Google. We're like 91% Google or something. Yeah. So you can read that however you want. Like we're too stupid to test other ones out, so we just stay with the main one or something.
Just scrolling through this, they have something about page speed, which I'm surprised this number isn't higher. 23%. They're too slow or whatever. I don't know.
Google's pretty. Google. They probably use the Google Page Speed API to check them or something, and it's pretty generous.
A conversation in the White Hat SEO group on Facebook. Some guy had a 6-second homepage speed, and apparently, according to that group, maybe I shouldn't have named it, that's acceptable. That's average, according to the constituents of that group. 6 seconds.
Wow. Our completely unoptimized Reach Creator site with massively oversized pictures does like, I think it was 1.3 or something.
Our internal
6
system
seconds
that
is
is doing huge database pulls works faster than that.
Yeah, like all the pages except the page that has like all of our clients listed with all of their stats and has to query the database for like every job that's out there. And so we're talking about, I don't know, that page probably does 4,000 queries. That takes about 4 seconds to load. That's our slowest page on our
compared
backend
to a
system.
website that's maybe like, it must be fucked up. It's like probably doing like 100 queries for no reason, and it's taking 6
even
seconds.
100 queries shouldn't take 6. I don't know what are they.
Yeah, well,
what
that's
are they
the
loading
point.
for 6 seconds?
I don't know if they have some like 4K image at 1 gig that they didn't compress. I don't know what the fuck, but either way,
some of these guys
average.
pound on like 15 ad networks and stuff though. Like, so they'll have their the Google network. They'll have Amazon affiliates all over the place. They'll have a couple of pop-ups. Just they'll have a pop under. They'll have the news. What's the news one called? Outbrain, and what's the other competitive brain? You know the ones. So they have like 19 different networks on there, all pulling in JavaScript and reporting back to Big Brother.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's in a transition. That the main topic of today. I'm gonna try not to rant. Maybe I will. But the main topic we're going to talk about today is understanding stuff for yourself and admitting that you don't know what you're talking about in some cases. Last year and a half, I've joined a lot of Facebook groups about SEO and digital marketing in general, and I'll be honest, most of my intent is to sell links. But I'm not trying to be arrogant. I am pretty good at what I do, and I don't say a lot in these groups. I try to help people out when I can, but the amount of bullshit floating around, and it's not just like people trying to be smug or arrogant or like, I know this and this. The amount of people that genuinely think they know what they're talking about and are like on the other side of the planet is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like yesterday I saw a woman, or man maybe, doesn't matter. She had been on the phone with GoDaddy about her SSL certificate. She didn't have one on her e-commerce site. She wanted to do one, which I agree, you should have one on the e-commerce site regardless if it's on or off site. Payment processing, I think it's just a good idea in general. GoDaddy told her pretty much, yeah, we can do it, and here's why you should do it. GoDaddy apparently told her, if you don't have an SSL certificate, you will be totally wiped out of Google. Which is, I don't even care that GoDaddy is spreading that shit. What I care about is this lady's coming here with a legit question she doesn't know about. She's looking for help. And one of the comments is, oh, I've gotten some mixed information. Pretty much if everyone else is using SSL, it might not work. And the OP was like, okay, that makes sense. And like, has anyone, there's probably 1,000 people that saw this post and were probably like, what the fuck? And I refrained from saying anything because I would have gone off in like a 20-page rant about what I'm about to do. But this person is saying, oh, everyone has security. That means security systems don't work. That's like me putting a security system in my house and my neighbor doing it. And because everybody on the block has a security system, the burglar can't, or the burglar can just walk in. Isn't it kind of the opposite? Like, not saying that every security system is foolproof, but pretty fucking stupid to be saying that kind of shit in public. And we can keep going on to stuff I saw today about using heading tags. I'm sure there are varying opinions on how to do it properly. You and I have our own ways of incorporating them. But never use more than one H1 tag. Totally agree. Next comment. I don't think it matters what headers you use. As a hard and fast rule, keep it relevant. I'll agree with keeping it relevant because that plays into the semantics of your copy, which is very important that a lot of people don't understand. But
I doubt that's what the person meant, though. I think they were just dropping in, keep it relevant, because they heard that somewhere.
Exactly.
Relevant's one of those
Um,
words you're supposed to say now with SEO, so they've dropped in keep it relevant.
the very first comment that I missed or I didn't bring up, only the H1 tag has been shown to have an effect on SEO. After that, it doesn't really matter what you use. But yeah, I use H2 subtopics most of the time. Well, I mean, okay, there's user experience, making everything look nice. And then the whole point of using heading tags is like semantically related keywords. Like obviously you have your first keyword intent in H1, but H2, like if you're talking about milk, remember that article you wrote a long time ago? Still
Yep.
prethe fucking relevant even in 2017.
Do we still have a copy of that? I tried to
I
find that
do.
the other day.
It's on our
Excellent.
drive. Or it might
Is
be on
it?
my, I know I have it for sure on my personal Google Drive.
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah,
if it's on.
I was looking for that the other day because I was like, our writers need to read this because it seems crazy to be giving that advice to a supposed professional writer in this day and age, but they don't know where to put a title in. They don't even know how to come up with related topics. They just try and waffle on about milk over and over again. It's like, no, you think about things that are to do with milk.
Right.
Like, look at the Wikipedia article about milk, for God's sake. It talks about uses of milk, cheese, cream, butter, origins of milk, why people in different parts of the world are lactose intolerant.
Yep.
So Google expects a good article on a keyword to have all of that stuff in.
Which you would naturally
And
expect. It's like
to be in a heading, yeah. It's like, you don't have to be a genius. There's no technical SEO in this bullshit. This is just how to make a document. Like, if you were using freaking Word, you do the same thing.
It kind of occurred in my mind today when I was thinking about it, how I was going to go off about this. I did a lot of technical writing in college. I went to school for automotive engineering. A lot of fucking technical writing. And it's like going back to writing research papers, whether you're still in high school or whatever, like that shit they taught you in English, basic English class is still pretty prevalent. And just like the basic understanding of how shit should be organized has blown the heads off of like 99% of people. And the worst part is I didn't show this person's original post. She thought that pretty much you should do H1 and then you do H2, H3, H4 as like a subset of your first heading. And then you'll do an H2 and you'll do like H3, H4, and then you'll do an H3, and then you'd have like H4. Like, she just didn't know what she was doing and she was asking for help. And these people that chime in and really have, like, I'm all for it if you want to help someone, but sometimes you gotta keep your mouth shut. Like, you could have fucked her. Like, it's like you could have ruined her business or something. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Just keep your mouth shut. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to say something like, oh, yeah, definitely one H1 tag, and then don't worry about it, do whatever the hell you want. I mean, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, that might, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, to some extent, if you just have one H1 tag and didn't have another heading on the page, if it was a page that didn't need any other headings. But to just make up general rules like that and say, oh yeah, just go off and don't worry about it, it's just stupid. Because imagine reading a book with no chapters, or a research paper with no like index so you could find the relevant parts, or it would just be impossible. Your document has to be fit for purpose, and that should be your main objective. And you'll find that leads you pretty close down the path of making your documents with the right types of headings in the right place. And Wikipedia does a really good job of structuring articles and the editing and how fussy they are about citation and stuff like that. If you held yourself to, I know it's laughable compared with the old, $50,000 encyclopedias that were written by a professor and all this stuff, but none of that stuff in Wikipedia would even get written about by the time, know. Like, imagine the PewDiePie article. By the time the next Britannica came out after 5 more years or whatever, he'd already not be famous anymore. Although he seems to be clinging on, like maybe he still will be famous. He'd have been a 2-issue guy probably, but the editorial standards and the structure are something you can definitely learn from. So don't ridicule Wikipedia if your articles aren't performing well in Google, because you're probably writing worse articles than Wikipedia. So if you're laughing at them, then pretty dumb. Sorry if you're pretty dumb at home, but
Ultimately, the point I wanted to make was, and we kind of actually touched on this last week when I was telling you guys about how that guy had come to me at advice, and he was at that transition point where he needs to take the next step and be a leader and not just wait for someone else to divulge some information to him and he just copies it. It's like you really gotta like do your due diligence and look into what the fuck you're doing. You can't just take everything verbatim that someone tells you and accept it to be the truth. And this happens a lot on the internet. It's just so easy to read something and be like, okay, I agree. Must be right. Some jack off from Texas said it's right. Must be right. No idea who he is. Must be right. And I think people get caught up in themselves, like the people that are making these comments. It's just a giant echo chamber, like Finn says. They agree with themselves. They only want to hear what they already agree with. They're too stubborn, or they're just not objective with their own self, and they can't be honest. Like, I know it's human nature not to like analyze yourself, and then you get other people that overanalyze everything they do. I don't know. It just really makes me upset that you see this shit, and then ultimately, what really grinds my gears is the people that run these groups don't give a straight fuck. They try to say that they're just here to help everybody and not make any money. They just want to see people learn. And you and I, that's 99.9% bullshit all the time. These guys, the guys that say they want to help people learn, they're always scam artists. They might be good at what they do, but they're there to print even more money off of what they're doing.
Yeah, I think if you can't tell what they're selling, like, I'm selling links. So if I start telling you that you should buy my links, then I'm biased. If I'm just giving you some advice on heading tags, which has got nothing to do with it, and I obviously can't sell you links talking about heading tags, then you can take it, with a different context, and there's a different level of bias implicit. The problem with a lot of these guys is it is mostly guys, unfortunately for us men. We are the shadiest motherfuckers in the industry, unfortunately. You can't work out what they're selling because their plan is to grift you for some large amounts of money over a long period of time, and they'll have people come into the group who rip people off that they recommended that's don't have anything to do with them, really honest promise when it all goes wrong. There'll be conferences where the speakers are there just to sell from stage and have paid to be at the conference to sell to you. So you don't even know then, like, you buy someone else's product who isn't the group owner, and you think it's all above board, and you just bought this person who spoke at the conference's product. What you don't realize is that $50,000 changed hands into the pockets of the conference organizers for that person to be there and to take your money.
Yep.
And so it's not even obvious what they're selling. And they're the most dangerous people sometimes because they've got to make a living unless they're just independently wealthy, and they've just got hundreds of millions from their parents or something. They've got to be making a living somehow. And if you can't work out what they're up to and how they're making a living, you've got to be careful to assume they're making it from you somehow. If they're constantly encouraging you to do things and go to things where you happen to spend a bit of money, safe to assume they're getting a nice little share of that.
And I get it. You get these groups that have like 10,000 people in them, or even 1,000. It's hard to like look through everything. But I'm part of groups. There's like 10 people part of these, 10 administrators or 10 people in the business, and there might be like 20, 30, 40 new posts a day, and they all see them. That they just sit there and smile and be like, "There's my next mark" or something. I guess I can't say because a lot of people don't know. And I'm not saying everyone out there is bad either. There's a lot of good guys and women trying to help you. But you have to like sit down and objectively think about yourself. Like, I need help doing this. Is this person offering me the right information? Do I need to check another source? Can I like validate this information very quickly? There's more than one way to doing anything. Is this way the best? Like in terms of, I don't know, there's just so much stuff in.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that article on, I think I published it on our Medium publication, Marginally Coherent, about how you can solve any SEO problem in 2 steps. And it was just to ask those 2 questions. I think we spoke about it on the last show. And if people just thought critically about things in that way, how many real sites do this thing? And if it wasn't for the search engines, would I do this marketing activity? And you can get, you can spend an hour just writing down some notes along those lines, and you'll get to the bottom really quickly of whether it's a good idea or not. So, like take the H2 tags. Are there real businesses that deliberately, quality big businesses with real marketing departments where their main marketing messages go out with an exact structure of H1, H2, H3, H4, two more H2s and H4 back to an H1, and everyone has to follow that format? It sounds hilarious when you say it out loud, but people are reading that on screen and then going and writing their article that way, and it's madness.
Yeah. Knock it off. Yeah, it's like, was it last week or the week before we were talking about, I don't know, was it anchor text ratio or something?
Yeah,
Simon asked about, I know it's a really huge, all-encompassing type question. Like, you just gotta decide what yourself and take what's available. The internet is so big. Like, I don't know, these people just get so drawn in on these Facebook groups. It just bewilders me that, it's like, let's say you're a stay-at-home mom starting her own blog. She's doing this and this. It's like, okay, you don't know anything about SEO and you're trying to learn, so you join these groups and you just instantly believe the first one you join must be right. What if you took your kid to the doctor and you just had this feeling, or you knew better, that your doctor was a total idiot? You wouldn't just believe him like that. And you're not a doctor, but if something just sounds too stupid to, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like a confidence thing or an education level. Maybe that's not a good analogy, but I don't know.
It's difficult to get to. It's difficult to get to the bottom of, because I think some really intelligent people fall for this stuff. So I don't think it's education. I think the people are so. There's a psychological trait where, because I remember I was reading a piece just talking about the gender gap and the way women and men speak differently. They found that if you didn't play a recording, if you just wrote down what people said at meetings and then asked people afterwards which one they believed, men had more of a tendency to just outright say, this is correct because, and women had a slightly higher tendency to say, I think, I believe, and to not just outright say this is true. And so you wrote those statements down, and it didn't matter whether a man or a woman had said the sentences. People just, male or female, believed the statements that were more matter of fact. So I think the people in these groups exhibit, they use that psychological trait either consciously or unconsciously really effectively, because either because they're so stupid they believe the nonsense they're saying 100% is right, or because they're so manipulative and they're, the Nigerian scammers deliberately misspell words. One, they're not Nigerian, and two, they're not misspelling the words because they're some dumb person from a village that can't speak. They're a super smart person who knows that the marks fall for, if you're so stupid that everyone's heard of the Nigerian scammers, right? So if you're so out of touch, you've not heard of them, they've passed one filter. They're likely got a mark now. If you continue reading the email after they've started out with the obvious scam line, then they spell the whole thing like a load of nonsense and make up an amount of money that's so absurd that your great granduncle definitely didn't leave you. And so if you get to the point where starts off with obvious scam name from obvious scam country, everything's misspelt, whole story's absurd, and you still are replying to that email, they know they've got a mark. And a lot of that goes on. They filter their marks, and the people that they're going to get to go to the conferences and buy the products for big money, who are going to believe their mastermind groups, are going to just keep buying from them over and over again, are the people that fall for all the nonsense. And they state it with authority so that people who don't know anything about the topic are more likely to believe it, just because of the way human psychology works. So if you want to sell more or do better in business, never say I think, always say here's how this works. Don't become a scammer though and say, oh yeah, you totally need to go H1, H2, H3, H4, a couple more H1s, back to an H2. It's like playing countdown. The consonant, please. One more vowels. That's not how it works. You don't write an article like that, do you? I mean,
No.
what professional writer writes that way? All right, let me decide on my heading structure first without knowing what the headings are. Then I'll make some headings up to fit this ridiculous structure, and then I'll write my article.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break.
I don't know. Just it's like there's a million things in my head I wish I could say, but I just can't put it into words. Like, going back quickly to the last one about it was tags, right?
H tags, yeah.
Yeah. So and then some. I made a comment. I can't believe what I'm reading, and another guy said something along the same lines, and an individual came in. Oh, if you guys are so smart, why don't you say something? And I already said why I didn't say anything. I would have just blown up and just would have said not nice things. And this lady called me an asshole, a smart ass, for not helping anybody out. So this other guy that had the same mindset as me made a comment, "Hi, such and such. I looked into your business. I think you are one of the typical people that don't know what you're doing, and I'm going to prove it." And she said, "Oh, really? Now you're stalking me?" He's like, "Nope, I'm just looking at publicly available information. I see that you make lamps and you sell them on the side as a hobby." And she's like, "Yes, I do. Why? Why are you stalking me?" And he said, "I see that you are making Nintendo branded lamps, ceiling lamps or something." And she's like, "Yep." And he's like, rule number one in e-commerce is like, don't be breaking trademarks and licensing and all that kind of shit, especially with someone huge like Nintendo. And apparently she had like a recent or a decent volume of sales. She was making like 50 grand a month, which is maybe enough to get on someone like Nintendo's radar, right? That you need to be licensing their logo if you're making $600,000 a year in revenue. And this guy was like, "So, are you licensed?" And she's like, "No, why does that matter?" And he's just kind of like, "Okay," he said something, and I'm just like, LMAO, point proven. I don't know, I just,
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are obviously, I mean, I'm not saying in this case that person's a criminal because it's a civil matter, Nintendo can sue them or not. But there are worse cases than that where obvious scammers and criminals we're not going to name any of these people because you can Google their names and they're masters of reputation management, but their own Google results for their name is like all of
not
their
very
criminal
good.
record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I know who you're
I'm
talking
not saying
about, and
whether
I
they're
can't
definitely
believe.
criminals or not. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, they're out in public, so they've served their time or they've been acquitted. But from a professional standpoint, if you can't even keep your own name clear while you're selling reputation management services,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should pay you. It just shocks me that people don't do what that guy did and just pop a quick Google in of
Right.
someone that
I
they're
was just
working
going to
with.
say,
Check out some reviews.
I know
See
exactly
where
who
they're
you're
talking.
talking about. How many people actually do you think Google this guy? Like, he's huge in the industry for what he does in his niche, or in his service niche. How many people
Very,
have.
very few because there's a dozen or so of them. Not that all know each other, just with
Right.
similar histories, loads of previous products that got shut down after 5 minutes, all this kind of stuff. You've got companies that constantly make great products, launch them, people like them, then they disappear, they relaunch a slightly different version,
Yeah.
and all the lifetime memberships they sold, because they don't want to support, who wants to support a load of lifetime memberships? So that lifetime, like WordPress plugins, lifetime license, $200. Year later, we
Gone.
make this new plugin now, we're gone.
Yeah.
And it's all over Google. You just search their name, a couple of the directors' names or whatever, and you find all of it. But people just don't. And so, being shocked that guy did it just shows how even again, not saying this particular person was a scammer, but even the scammers can safely assume they can say whatever they want, and it'll be the exception, not the rule, when someone jumps into Google and says, wait a minute, you're giving people advice on business and you're going around ripping off people's trademarks.
Yeah.
I'm sure your advice on everything is going to be super good.
Yeah. And I guess I can
Bit of
say
due diligence.
that it's kind of it might be a logical fallacy in my point to say, it, just because she doesn't understand that she can't be ripping off Nintendo, maybe she is good at SEO, but for her to come in and just be like, I don't know, I don't know, it's just all this shit and combines itself and all the stuff I read. Like some people just need to keep their mouth shut because like you can really screw with someone and tell them to do the totally wrong thing. And I don't care if you're doing the wrong thing just because you think it's right, but you can't be telling people to do that shit. It's like it's always these small time people that they don't make any money at their attempts to make money online, and they're hemorrhaging money, and they're just trying to vindicate themselves to themselves. I don't know. It's just bad. It's bad. I kind of think that I know it's tough in some of these big groups to manage it, but at some point you gotta step in and be like, okay, I'm an expert here because my group and I'm a trusted authority. This person is wrong. I think this person is wrong, or like you said in your persuasion thing, this person is wrong. I don't even think this person is wrong because I've done a case study on it, and this happened, and this happened. I have the data to back it up. And sorry, this person probably won't buy from me ever again, but they're a fucking idiot.
It protects the integrity of the group if there are respected curators. Now, I'd say that's a big warning sign in your groups if long nonsensy arguments develop.
It's like all the groups. Very rarely do the admins actually step in. Like,
Yeah.
I think we've discussed a few recent things that have happened that were unfortunate, where money had been involved. It's really like the only time they ever step in, is if they either need to protect themselves or if they're selling. Even if, I don't know, it's just, I feel bad, and I guess you can say what you want about me because I don't run a group. I don't have the patience for it, obviously. I would freak out. So
Well, we ran a group back in the poker days. It was actually before Facebook groups. It was on IRC.
yeah,
You know, we had a pretty chill time in there. We
yeah,
didn't
that's fair.
tolerate any. We didn't tolerate any fools, but
Yeah,
they weren't in the group for long. It was a pretty small group. It was only people who weren't complete idiots that we
yeah,
let in. But yeah, we let new people in to learn. We just didn't let people in who were like
yeah.
saying crazy stuff like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you should totally re-raise 7-4 because it's a three gapper." And it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you play your 7-4 all you want, buddy. Like, I mean, it's true. You know, if you get up against a guy with ace king and the flop comes ace 7-4, he doesn't put you on 7-4. But come on, how often is that happening?
Didn't you stack some guy with that? The French guy?
Oh,
A
6-4,
few years,
6-4
6-4.
hearts. It's no, yeah, 6-4 is different. That's the below above.
Yeah.
I was for Kev.
Yep.
Oh man, those were the days. Kevin below above Saul at the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure. What a player. Johnny Backs, Cliff Josephy.
It's been
I
a
can't
while.
believe he made the World Series though. I mean, he made the final table all these years later. Shows how good he was though. You know, all
Right.
those years after still making a final table at the World Series, 10,000 players or whatever. Final 9. Last year that was in November, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just don't have the
Yeah, pretty
fucking
much
patience.
legend of the game. But yeah, I think if the admins and if you're just seeing constant, these kind of groups are fine if you're experienced and you can cut through the nonsense because
Right.
you're there. Like we're there in this. We're mostly there to help new people because most people in the groups that we're in can't afford to pay an agency to help them
Yeah.
with their
I mean,
marketing or do
I'll
their
make
outreach.
comments
We're
that
there to
help
help new
people.
people, and we're there to help new people, and we're there to network and just meet the successful people. The kind of people in between are very disruptive. They don't know what they're doing. They're not making any
Right.
money. But they're not there to learn. They're there to project a false sense of
Yeah.
knowledge and just
Exactly.
confuse
That's
newbies and
yeah.
sell their nonsensy $49 ebook or
Yeah.
their oh man, I've seen some insanely stupid consulting offers. The amount of money they're proposing to charge for stupidly simple projects and stuff. There's some crazy stuff going on, and you have to really have your wits about you that what you're buying is what you think it is, and the person even knows what they're talking about. It's a dangerous market to buy in at the minute if if you haven't got a lot of experience and you haven't been doing it for 10 years and you haven't got the knowledge to cut through everything, you have to spend a little bit longer before you decide to buy.
Yeah.
And if the clock on the stupid thing ticks down to 0 and you miss out, well, you probably just saved yourself some money.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, you're better off than if you bought it. So take your time. Don't be afraid of missing out on this latest, greatest offer nonsense. If it's that good, it'll be back round again.
Yeah.
It's like the BA sale, like as if British Airways is never going to have another sale. If you see the email comes out just 3 days left on the sale, oh geez, I better book a flight somewhere just in case they don't have another sale ever again. It's like, if you're not going anywhere, don't book the flight.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole. You go to like the grocery store or you're out shopping for anything, and you see something on sale. Well, I should buy that because it's on sale. I'm gonna save money. But in reality, let's say it was usually normally $100. It's marked down to 75. Oh, I should buy that. It's $25 off. I'm saving 25%. It's like, no, you just lost $75 because you were never gonna buy that piece of shit in the beginning. You just spent $75 you were never gonna spend. You lost 75. You didn't save $25. You see people doing that. I don't know.
I think you actually see the same false authority in other industries. I was watching that Rogan chat, the MMA guy, and he was just doing his like YouTube show, and he had someone on, and they were just talking about fake martial arts and Aikido specifically, and they were talking, and you see the structure of the dojo, the master and of course when you practice in that dojo, you just use the techniques of that martial art. So obviously the master is 10 years better than you at that martial art, and you think there's some kind of god that can toss you around the room, and you get a lot of respect for them. And you'll believe that you're then able to fight in real situations using those skills. And the problem is a lot of the techniques don't work facing contrarian strategies and different skills. And like basically Aikido, you're defenseless against anyone who did high school wrestling in America. And they found a video on YouTube. They were looking for some examples. They found a fight. This 70-year-old fat Turkish former wrestler against like some master in Aikido. I can't remember how their rankings worked in Aikido, but he was some famous master. And Rogan got it right. He's like, "No, man, this guy's just going to take him down. He's going to take him down. None of that stuff's going to work. You can't like twist his arm while he's got hold of you. You'd be on the floor." And exactly what he predicted happened. This old chap just got hold of him, took him down, submitted him the first time, second time, got a rear naked choke on, choked him out. It was just embarrassing. Like the martial art just didn't work against Greco-Roman wrestling. So any high school wrestler can beat this top martial artist. And that same false authority, though, these groups are almost like the dojo, and these people who look more successful than you are telling you this nonsense. And they've only got money because they're stealing it from you. They haven't got real businesses. I mean, not all of them, of course. I mean, there's legit groups and legit people in this industry, but I'm talking about the kind of false authority groups. They work on feeding on the desperation of the members to succeed and to join this elite group that doesn't really exist. The elite group only exists the same as the Aikido master in that dojo only existed because of students believing the nonsense and continuing to pay to come along.
Yeah.
In a real fight, they lose, and in real business, these people don't have a business. They're just taking money from people less knowledgeable than them for no real education that doesn't help them in a real fight. So it's not just our industry that has, and I'm not saying all Aikido's fake. Like most people who do Aikido could beat me up because I'm an out of shape English guy.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally legit that if you come up against someone untrained, you can punk them out. But the illusion of the dojo and your belief that pursuing that excellence in that martial art will make you something you're not is part of the dream. So it's not that Aikido's fake. It's just not what you think it is and what you think you're paying for while the master's teaching you. And obviously, they watched another video where the chap was just talking about, the lifestyle, the bar fights it saved him in and stuff. Okay, so Garrett just asked me to put out some feelers on LinkedIn, and we had one really cool question. It's from Stephen Van Vessem from Content King, which I think is spelled with a K. Is that right, Garrett?
Content King?
Will,
yeah.
Yeah.
The King spelled with a K?
No, the content. Doesn't he spell the content weirdly as
Oh,
well?
right. Actually, I feel bad, but I don't remember. I'll look it
We'll
up.
pull that.
I'll put
Pull
a
it
link
up.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pull it up for you guys. It's a really good product, actually. Garrett tested it out. This isn't a paid placement, by the way, guys. We just because he was kind enough to ask a question, we thought we'd just mention him. But yeah, Garrett tried his tool out for a little while. We don't do consulting anymore, but compared with your standard self-service tool like Screaming Frog's super powerful, but you have to put a lot of work into it to get the results. Content King did a lot of the donkey work for you and gives you really powerful stuff without you having to put in as much work. So if you're dealing with a massive site with a big content team and you're struggling to keep on top of what everyone's doing, it's definitely worth checking out. So he said, can small brands with small budgets still compete with big brands with big budgets? Google favors big brands. How can the small brands still carve out a market for themselves? And I'll read my answer quickly, and then I'll let Garrett kind of dig in with his thoughts. As you said, my short answer is that Google doesn't really favor big brands so much as it has a preference towards authority sites, and big brands have a natural advantage in generating authority signals. Like if you're spending 10 million a month on TV ads, people are going to be Googling about your ads, and just there's going to be branded search, and you're going to pick up a lot of press coverage when you make a misstep or you rip on one of your competitors on Twitter. Like you can insult a competitor on Twitter if you're a big brand, and 5 newspapers will write about you and link to both of you. You get a lot of help with authority signals. So I just suggested, we've had a client before, Garrett and I, many years ago now. They used to do a lot of aggressive Reddit work, viral type campaigns to get press coverage, as well as then grinding hard in the background on link building, outreach, content. So they had a kind of look like they had the same kind of traction as a big brand, but it didn't come easily. It didn't come naturally. They didn't have to tweet at a competitor and they got 5 news stories. They had to hit the top of Reddit to get the journalist to pick them up. And then they had to grind out that blogger outreach in the background, which they were paying us to do most of, to get the links and the follow-on links after those bits of coverage to kind of keep the momentum going. So yes, they can, but you have to hustle. You have to come up with ideas that will get coverage so that you generate some authority signals, and you have to grind out a lot of natural promotion work in the background, which might come easier to a big brand, but a lot of the times their marketing teams aren't strategically doing it or doing it particularly well. So they have an intrinsic advantage from having authority already and picking up coverage, but they're not necessarily doing it at such a pace that someone with a really well optimized site and a really good strategy for picking up links can't beat them. And I think Distilled in the insurance space in the UK with their Simply Business client, which they show off a lot at conferences, which is why I guess they don't mind us talking about it because they talk about it all the time, so everyone knows. They're just making like loads of businessy link baits and promoting them super well and getting a load of links. It's now that, and they dominate, but they're not, AXA Insurance or something, or the Prudential or something. No one on the streets heard of them, but they're absolutely huge in the business insurance industry because they've had the hustle to get on with it with a good agency. And I think that's how you compete, but you have to invest money and budget and time.
Exactly.
I think the idea that you can just kind of, obviously you can growth hack, obviously you can get some traction, but at some point you have to accept, especially if you're a small business and you own it, you're going to have to invest some money back in, hire some staff, get some stuff done.
Right. Yeah, it's no different growing, whether it's office space, traditional overhead, office space, employees, equipment, whatever. I mean, if you're going to take the next step, advertising, the umbrella of advertising with SEO being one part of it, it's no different than anything else. Time and money.
Yeah, I think with our business, we started out right from the beginning with the idea that we weren't going to make jobs for ourselves. The first 3 to 4 months, we did everything. But then we started hiring people immediately. And it's meant that we've always made less than we could have done. But at no point have we just made a job for ourselves. It's a real business from the beginning. We've hired people. We spend on advertising, spend on promotion. And I think a lot of people start out as a 1 or 2 man business, and it's tough for them to make the next step because they never want to spend any money because it's like, oh, I'm losing this money out of my pocket. But we've just over the years become so used to always spending, 85% of the, we make 15% profit.
If you can get through a year like of just scraping by. If you can go like legit go a year of being in business for yourself and legit scraping by, the next year you could make $1 million, and you like wouldn't even spend any of that money you made. You'd be so used to like not having any money. Like you always hear people saying, I never used to make any money, but now I just spend all of it. Like people that actually spent a year or two building a proper business that didn't make any money for 2 years, I don't know, like I don't spend money on anything anymore other than like some
No,
booze.
that first year, that first year. Do you know what's funny is the first 6 months when we were doing everything, until 2.5 years later, were actually our highest paid months in that first 3 years. The first 6 months where we had no staff and no real business, we were making the most money that it took us another 2.5 years to make back. But I'm glad we went through that.
Right. Yeah.
Year and a half,
Yeah.
the really tough year and a half where we started hiring people and growing, because we would still just be the same size we were then. Where, you know, 5 or 6 consulting clients, just capped out all the time, working hard all the time on just doing client work. And it's not that we don't work hard now. It's just very, very different what we do now. You know, I'm really into coding and building new like SaaS products that we're looking to bring to market. Garrett's doing a lot of advertising and creative, and a lot more of the business development stuff that he really wanted to do. If we were just grinding our 6 clients, like we don't want another client. What are we doing creative and business development for? We don't want to do the last thing we wanted was another client when we had 6 and it was just the 2 of us.
Yeah,
that was us. You know, it was 80-hour weeks. And
you know what? I was cleaning out Dropbox. Yeah, Dropbox. I was cleaning out my Dropbox. I like separate a lot of shit between OneDrive and Dropbox for cloud backup and for my personal stuff. Like we have a lot of the Platis stuff on OneDrive, and then I have a lot of like my personal business stuff on Dropbox. And I was cleaning out all that shit the other day or last night or something. And I found one of my old schedules that I used to follow. Like it was like 4 years ago, and it was like it was every half an hour increments of every day. I'd get up at like 9 o'clock and go from outreach for XXX client, and then it was like outreach for XXX client, outreach for XXX client, like the whole day, just bam, 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 bam. I was looking back and like reminiscing on. I don't know. It'd probably make more sense if I could name the clients, but whatever. It's just interesting.
Well, you just need to come up with some code names for them, like medical client C and.
Carrot.
But yeah, I think that's yeah.
Carrot farmer and blue animal.
But yeah, I mean, I think you know, and so a lot of people that come to us and they're trying to make that next step, they have quite decent businesses, but because they're not prepared to invest or hire anyone or spend on any advertising, or you know, $1,000 seems like a big investment on an advertising campaign, which that's just a test campaign.
Nothing.
I mean,
that's nothing.
You won't
Well,
be
I
able
mean,
to hire.
what did we spend? What did we spend the whole like the first year we decided to reorganize? Like we spent a couple $100,000.
Yeah, I think it was some outlandish amount like that. Yeah,
that's just straight out of our pockets. Like that's money that was in our pockets that we're used to. Gone, snap of the fingers. Like lifestyle change, cut by $1 million. If you can make it through shit like that, then you're just gonna be fine in life. Or like I don't know. I'm not saying my life is fine, but I don't know. You make it through something like that, like you got pretty good chances that you can make the sacrifices to grow a business. And
I think you know, there's a lot of pretty famous people who basically paid themselves nothing during the kind of early years of their businesses too. Whereas the temptation is to say, well, you know, I make $100,000 a year. There's no money left for advertising. It's like, well you've capped yourself out then.
Cut back to 70. Like the lifestyle difference between 70 grand and 100 grand a year isn't that much different. It might be like, okay, you bought a brand new car or truck. Just don't do something like that for a year, and you can heavily invest 30 grand and see a huge return on it. But it's tough to do.
Yeah.
It's like human nature. It is something tough to do, but you just got to do
Yeah,
it.
and if you're a small business and you're trying to out hustle the big brands, how are you going to do it if you haven't even got the resources? You have to spend the money somewhere. You either have to have some more staff in house to do the Reddit marketing. Our small client they hired 2 people to do Reddit and other social promotion of their content. They hired us to do outreach. If you aren't prepared to invest in anything at all, like you don't have to go hire an agency. They couldn't afford a New York City SEO agency on 50 a month retainer, but they could invest 8,000-9,000 a month, and the owner basically had no money for a year, just burning savings for a year, and he's worth many millions, over 50 million now.
Yeah.
But without that year of investment, the business wouldn't have succeeded. So it's about investing smartly, I think, in which parts of the digital mix you want to go for.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you got anything else to add on that in terms of small business tips?
No, not really off the top of my head. We can keep moving through some shit and wrap it up.
Cool, go for it.
We're skipping donation this week. We'll wait till I have a guest next week, hopefully, and we'll just double it like we discussed. This week I kind of have a interesting review. Our dryer quit working. It quit working like 2 months ago, and then the landlord. We're just renting right now in between houses. Landlord sent someone over. They fixed it. I asked them which part had gone out and why, whatever. It made sense to me. And last week the dryer quit working, and using my deductive reasoning, I decided 70% sure it was the same part that went out, whatever. And I ordered it, and I found this site. So the guy had charged my landlord like $120 for the part, and I don't know, $100 for labor, which is reasonable. But obviously the repairmen always mark up their parts. I mean, I think it's justified, maybe not to the extreme that this guy did, but it takes time for them to order them and keep them in stock and have them on the shelf, and they have to have somewhere to store them. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Mark up a part 10-15%.
Yeah.
So I found the part for $35 shipped versus 120, so it's like a third of the cost or something like that. And I put it in myself, but this website I found is called partselect.com, and they have parts for home appliances, outdoor equipment like your basic lawnmowers, chainsaws, shit like that. And I guess they have some parts for TVs and cell phones. But what was cool is I ordered this part, and they actually send you with it. I wasn't expecting this. Like, I've never taken apart a dryer. I am saying that, I mean, I have some mechanical sense, but they send you to schematics, diagrams, instructions, and they have this like huge review network. And I guess what I'm getting at with my review is this is a pretty cool, well built out site where this has gone beyond just SEO. I mean, they were #1 when I typed in the dryer part I needed, so that's why I bought it. It's #1. But they are probably #1 for a reason beyond SEO. They are sending me all the information that I need for an average idiot to fix this part in their dryer. And like, I was worried going into it, like, okay, maybe like the instruction will say remove these 2 bolts, but this piece in the dryer isn't going to come out unless you like shimmy it one way. The instruction said that. Like, tilt it up before you pull it out, otherwise it won't come out and you'll break it. I would have been pulling on that son of a bitch, that cover, that I would have broke it, and that would have cost me $200. Really good shit. It's called partselect.com. If you have the balls to work on your own dryer, make sure you turn off the gas and electricity. You don't want to blow yourself up. But it's pretty cool.
I thought if your dryer broke, you just threw it away and bought a new one.
That's the story I'm not going to get into right. There's a reason that I fixed it, and I don't want to get into it. So.
Well, you fixed it anyway.
Yeah.
Better than I would have done.
Yeah.
Better than I would have done. So, I mean, just in terms of the SEO on the site, I mean, obviously, I'm assuming they're on-site content. is pretty impressive as well. I mean,
Yeah,
if they're
so
sending out, if you're sending you that kind of stuff out on paper, I mean, they must be replicating that across their content
yeah, I mean,
strategy or whatever.
obviously my search query was very direct. Like it was, I just typed in the model number of the dryer, model number, high temp thermostat, and obviously that's probably going to be something relatively easy to rank for because it's probably, I'd be surprised if it gets more than 100 hits a month. But I mean, really, that's like really. I'm sure there's the other sites I didn't look. It's probably just you go to the page, you buy it, and that's it. But like with the part, I don't know, you just like really full service thing, pretty cool. Maybe it's kind of people probably think it's silly. I think it's great.
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, those kind of businesses do really well. I'm trying to think of the one. Oh God, a lot of years ago we worked with. It was, yeah, I forget. I had like all the just really, really specific products. Shows how many people we've had come join us since then. It's like used to know every detail of every client. Now you know. I know the people. I know the owners of every single client's business. Other than the owner, we used to speak to like 7 staff at every client and stuff, didn't we? It's like now you just speak to the boss, and there's no time to speak to like their assistant and all that stuff anymore.
Yeah, it's just like let's get this done.
Yeah. So my review is Siteliner, and this is a super cool one for if you're a business owner. Just go to siteliner.com, bang your site in, and it's made by the guys that make Copyscape. It's a super cool tool, but it's not looking for duplicate content where you've stolen content or where other people have stolen yours. It's where your site's plagiarizing itself. So, and one really interesting example of when it came out useful was we had a client who had one writer do all of their blog posts, all of their SEO copy, everything. And she had certain turns of phrases that she just used all the time. And it led to around 24% duplicate content across the whole site because all of their articles were overlapping because she explained different concepts using almost exactly the same words. And Siteliner identified that where you didn't really notice just reading it. You thought it was fine. You know, your SEO technical analyst skims through it all. It's clearly unique content. It's a different article. It doesn't really share that much. Siteliner really digs deep and spots problems of duplicate content across your site. And you can obviously, Google's got better. Back when Siteliner first came out, people were still, you know, if you ran a medical site and you had to have a disclaimer on every page, people were still grabbing it as a screenshot and putting the JPEG in so that the words weren't. Google's much better now identifying intentionally, you know, this is a medical disclaimer, we expect to see it, you know. I don't know how good they are at it. I know some people still JPEG that bad boy up, but aside from those things, it's going to spot all kinds of things where you need to work on reducing the way you've said the same thing too often. And it happens a lot with businesses that are multi-locational.
Right.
And well, you've got to be really talking about stuff that's of interest to that city and that region specifically. And I know your key selling points are the same. And I know you've had a great copywriter write your main landing page. But if you just paste those call to actions and those exact sales points onto every single city, you've got a pretty heavily duplicated content on each one of those pages. And if that's more than 20-30% of the page, it's really damaging the value of those pages in the search engine. Where, take it back to Garrett's example, he had a really specific query, and I bet every word on the page was something useful to what he was looking for. And that's what you've got to think about when you're building those city pages, building those individual product descriptions, and Siteliner will really help you with that. And they have, like, you can get quite a lot of data for free, so you can do quite a big scrape for no cost and just have a play with it. And then obviously buy more if you need it to really tune your site up. And for SEO agencies, it's great for just sending to clients when they're like not listening to you, because it's pretty embarrassing for some of them how bad they've let things get.
To put that kind of shit into context, we rewind like, I think it has been like 8 years ago. I used to write a lot of copy for a certain client, and when you write about the same, like pretty much the same thing, like 50 times for 500 words, you can only say so much. And this is kind of an extreme example, but you might, if you're writing your own copy for your website, you might actually go in and see that you're describing the same thing in the exact same way over and over. Like you might be using like the same, let's say you wrote like a 500 word page for a landing page, and the next page is for a different city, like Steve said, but the same thing. And your sales pitch is like, give us a call today at 1-800, a live representative would be happy to help you, blah, blah, blah. And obviously you reword that, but it's like really, really close to the same thing. And then the next page is the same. And then the next page says, don't forget to call us so a live representative can help you. Like obviously the copy would be better, but that same kind of shit really adds up. It's like Google's actually pretty good at seeing like that if you just keep blasting out copy like that and content, it's really the same shit. And Steve's exactly right where pick some information that's really key to the locale, expand on that. I'm not saying you can't have like, yeah, don't forget to call us or whatever, but your call to action. It makes you wonder the shit we got away with a long time ago.
Oh yeah, I mean I can tell your stories from 8 years ago doing 50 identical 500 word pages. It's amazing how much things move on.
Can only say the same thing.
I mean you'd have had to dig out 2,600 words now on each page.
Yeah, inbox. And it's for the better, but
yeah, it is for the better. Yeah, it is for the better.
Yeah. Oh, anyways,
plumber, New York City, plumber, the Bronx, plumber.
bold, italic, underline.
Don't forget the underline.
H1, H2, H3, H4, done. Fuck this shit. Fucking. Ugh. Anyways.
Stuff still works, man, especially in the legal sector. I see a lot of people still doing it. Working really, really well. Get the bold, italic, and underline.
Yeah.
Seven bolded keywords, 7 italics, 6 underlined.
Yeah, stay true. Do not deviate. You have to do those exact numbers.
Don't forget to go back and throw in an extra H1, 4 H2s, and then an H7 at the end. The H7 just confuses Google. It makes it think it's a really deep article, you see.
Yeah, make sure you actually have an H7 in your CSS file, otherwise.
Oh boy, I love when people do it. That's actually my favorite thing is when people do it, and the H7 is like enormous.
Yeah.
It's H1, H2, H3, H4. Then they throw in some random tag at the end, and it's like, oh yeah, I've never put an H7 in anything. Does it go down? Does it stop at H6, or does it actually go to H7?
I don't actually know. I rarely go past 4.
Yeah. Well. You're only writing.
I don't know. I'm gonna admit something. I don't know if this is right, but once I hit H4, like if it's like a 3,000 word article, obviously you're gonna have a lot of headings. I just stop at H4 and just keep using H4. I think it looks good.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you go back to another main topic, like another main subtopic,
yeah.
you go back to H2 or whatever. But yeah, I think it was actually an H5. Thinking back, that I saw where the H5 was enormous. So it definitely goes down to 5. Okay. I've never had cause to use more.
And I think the only reasoning I have for H4 is I can't tell the difference when I'm looking at it between like normal text. Like after H4, I don't know, I just can't. I can't even tell it was supposed to be a heading. Like H5.
Well, I think with H4 it tends to be formatted. Like when people used to write documents and there was like their main headings they wanted to go in the index, and then they would have loads of kind of mini headings or section headings or just things just for a paragraph. They'd quite often just bold it, and I think H4 is, and a lot of people's style sheets, the way they set up their templates is kind of just the same size as the text but bolded. So if you go below H4, it's going to be tight. You know, you got to then shift everything up bigger above it so that you can go in deeper. And obviously huge documents. But I would think you're better off breaking things into more pages. If you're getting to the point where you've got such amount of depth in headings, it's going to be tough for people to absorb that as one document anyway. You want to start breaking up your content anyway, I would have thought. But yeah, that did make me laugh, this massive H5. It's like, did you guys look at this page, or are you just... auto upload that bad boy, and
Yeah.
or maybe that was a trick. Maybe that was one of those tips from some forum. Like it wasn't actually an accident. They make the H5 big, so Google thinks it's an H1. That was probably one of the tricks that someone mentioned on a Facebook group.
You know, we should start doing it every week. You, me, and Vin can do one screenshot each of
The craziest thing we saw in a discussion that week.
We don't even say anything. We just post it. It's up to the viewer to decide their own.
The viewers should vote for Donk of the Week.
Well, all right. I like that.
We should have a Donk of the Week T-shirt or something.
Speaking of donkeyness, I don't know why this crossed my mind. If anyone's going ungagged in Vegas, November 12th through the 15th, I believe, we're going to be doing some sort of live shit show. So whether it's me walking around with a laptop and a webcam and we're streaming, or we invite
I think that's most likely what it's going to be.
We'll figure something out. Maybe both.
Yeah, I think both. I think we'll have like some live just walking around. We'll have something poolside at Trump where you can come and get a free drink on us if you're prepared to come on the show and answer some questions, and maybe even pick the Donk of the Week winner that week or something. Yeah. If we decide that that's a good idea to send people a T-shirt for taking the mick out of random forum people, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely do some stuff in Vegas. Looking forward to that being a really cool show. I mean, we really, with this show, we had in mind that Vegas would be kind of the real kind of big launch of the show. Like, we're just kind of finding our feet. None of us are radio broadcasters or anything like that, as you can tell from
If you've watched previously, I have no idea how to run the software. So
well, you forget that they don't see those bits. Like, the show just didn't start for 25 minutes.
Yeah, and never mind the show that we never even put live because it was so fucked up.
Yeah, well, I think that's actually in the YouTube channel. Like, you can listen to 25 minutes of static.
I thought I took it down.
Are you taking it down now?
Yeah.
It was up for a couple of weeks. You guys missed it. 25 minutes of static pretending to be an SEO.
Oh, actually, that one might actually still be up.
I think it is. I think it is.
I need to edit that one. Just, I don't know. Was that last week's? Or the week before?
No, the week before, yeah. This last week we had a guest. Luckily, it was a non-guest week, so...
Oh, yeah. It was just us three. Yeah.
It seems to go better when we have a guest. When we have a guest, we had technical problems tonight. We had like some kind of blender going off in Garrett's place. And then a bit of swearing and him walking around for a bit on the camera.
I guess I need to spend 20 grand to finish off my basement.
Yeah. Well, you've only just moved in there a few weeks, haven't you? So
I'm just... I'm not putting any money into this place. I had originally offered the landlord I'd finish the basement. Well, I'd do it myself, and I'd give her a deal on the labor, but it's not going to happen. I'm just going to work those hours and put that towards building a new house that I want.
Much better idea. Much better idea.
I'm just happy renting until housing around here, like I'm sure in the rest of the country, is absolutely insane. So I'd rather pay rent than extra interest. That would be more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're the same thing. I mean, we could move to a cheaper city, or we can stay here and live in a nice big house in the town we want to live in. So we're just renting here for now. I mean, probably 3 years we'll buy. I don't know. You're probably similar. It's
yeah. I'm hoping next year. I don't know.
I
want to buy.
A lot of people, it's just more convenient. I mean, renting is compared with like in this town, the buying a house that we would want. Because I don't want a mortgage, I want to buy in cash.
Yeah,
I'm not getting a mortgage. I know, like Grant Cardona told me that's retarded or whatever, but I don't borrow money, so.
I'll probably end up with a mortgage.
I don't even take the 0% finance on like sofas and stuff. I'm like, no, I'll just give you the money. Give me the sofa. Or on some payment plan.
My Twitter tip of the day is going to be: everyone always says you should buy over renting, and I'm going to give you one huge tip on why that's usually not true for most people. if you have a mortgage on an average house in America, like $250,000 for 30 years, 90% of people don't even put 20% down. So until you get to 20%, you have to pay for mortgage insurance, and the lifetime interest that you pay on a $250,000 mortgage. I want you to look that up and tell me what you could have done with $200,000. Because that's pretty much what you've paid between PMI and interest.
It's not that simple, though. I mean, it is an investment to some extent if prices keep going up.
Are you gonna double your money on a house in 30 years?
No, but while we're renting, our landlord is. I'm assuming that the chap's making some money.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You're paying his mortgage, which is fine. I get that. I'm totally cool with that. But when you own the property, let's say you're living in your house for 30 years, how many times do you have to buy new appliances that are going to cost you 10 grand? How many times you're going to put a new roof on that's going to cost you 10 grand? I was just saying you're losing 200 grand on a $250,000 house in interest and mortgage insurance.
Add up all the other stuff, yeah.
And Mark taught me this shit. That's why he always rented.
Oh yeah, when you move into a new place renting, like the place we're moving to next, because we wanted a bit more space.
I just hate it when people say build equity. Build equity.
Like
that equity is costing you so much money. You could have taken that extra money and
it's been completely refurbished and decorated.
Exactly.
Like it's had $4,000 worth of decoration done that I'm going to pay for.
Yeah.
Like so that's like if I owned that, it's like 4 months extra I'd have to pay.
And personally, when people tell me, "Oh, build equity," I'm like, "What am I building equity for? It's a fucking house. What? Oh, then you can just like go borrow more money because you own equity in your house." That's like, what the fuck are you buying that you're borrowing against your house? The equity in your house. That's where you live. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, when I buy, I want it to be mortgage free, or I'll just keep renting. I mean, and like because of the way business is going, won't be long anyway. I mean, I can rent for 3 years without worrying about it now. We've
exactly
like Garrett was explaining. We've tossed away all our money and lived on nothing for 2 years a good while ago now. So you've just got to make that decision. If you want to grow your business, you have to spend to grow. VaynerMedia, Gary Vaynerchuk just takes out
something. I don't know what you're about.
Oh yeah, Vin thinks I'm a bit whenever I mention him. He's just jealous that Gary Vaynerchuk has 400 million and he doesn't. It's like. I mean, who else are we supposed to look up to in the advertising industry? I mean, the people who run these big old New York agencies that he's kind of eating their lunch and stealing all their clients. I mean, who else is there? What other big digital agencies are there that are doing what they're doing in real advertising?
I don't know.
There's a bunch of digital shops and there's some pretend creatives who do like fancy infographics and then they can't get any links to it, so they outsource all the link building to people like us to pretend that it was successful. I mean, they're not real advertising agencies. Those people aren't people to look up to at our conferences and stuff. Someone like Gary, who's actually making adverts, like the old style Mad Men stuff, creative that's actually interesting, and growing an agency. I'm not buying someone a beer because I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I will buy Ben a beer, but not for that reason. But yeah, he takes out his tax bill. That's all the money he's taking out of Vayner right now because he wants it to be a multi-billion-dollar agency.
Yeah.
You just got to make that decision, Although, I would have loved to buy a house 4 years ago, like we would have done if we just kept plugging away. But we're going to both buy, especially because Garrett showed me the plans for his lakeside mansion. We're both going to buy slightly better houses.
It's not that extravagant in the context of things.
No, for an American. To a British guy, I'm like, what the hell?
I mean, I don't think these days $600,000 to live on a lake is that bad. I mean, granted,
no. I mean,
here's the fucking caveat: I gotta do a lot of the work myself, which is gonna piss me off, but it'll be worth it.
Well, you say that now, but the same as with your basement.
No, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be bitching and complaining because I'm gonna be working 12 hours and I have to go to this stupid house and hang sheetrock and mud and tape for 4 hours. If we just
like I say, you say that now, but
I'll just pay someone to do it.
I can see, that checkbook will be coming out. I know what you're like. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do the work because you haven't got the money yet. As soon as you've got the money, you'll be like, oh yeah, this guy's doing this for me now.
Yeah, life's a lot. I'd rather work.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, I mean, they are skilled craftsmen that do some of the work,
Right.
but they still don't charge what you make when you work an hour. So
Actually,
do you really?
what I'm doing right now is actually looking into really heavily, like, is it worth saving $1,000 on this? And in most cases, it's like going to take me 20 hours to do this to save $1,000. Probably not worth it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
to most people, your thought is probably, oh, I can save $1,000. But let's digging a foundation and setting up all the forms to have a poured wall. I can do that with the help of my friends that are knowledgeable. But by the time I go and rent a big excavator and buy all the fucking wood to do forms, and like buy 20 cases of beer for my friends and dinner, I'm saving $1,000, which is cool. But that's going to be like a 2-day event, where it's going to have to be like a Saturday, Sunday. I don't work at all. Save $1,000. I'd rather borrow that at 3%. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially when one Facebook conversation can be worth $4,000.
Yeah.
It's like, do I want to grind in some mud for 27 hours, or do I want to type some words on the laptop?
If you would have asked me that 10 years ago, I would have spit in my own face. But
I mean, it's just it's like everything. I mean, you don't clean your leisure time needs to be things you enjoy. You don't clean your house in your leisure time. You pay someone to clean it. If you want to work an extra 2 hours, I guarantee whatever you do, you make more than it costs you to pay someone to clean your house. And if you don't enjoy your job more than cleaning, you should get a different job. That's my advice. It really is. I mean, you think about how much better the economy would be if everyone adopted that, because it creates jobs. It keeps pushing money around. Everyone gets richer if you spend money like that. If you do everything yourself and save money, you don't really save money. You end up with less money.
I'm all
because
about the
you haven't worked the extra 2 hours.
I think it was Henry Ford. I can't believe it.
Well, Henry Ford was the first person to do it at like industrial scale. Yeah. Adam Smith, sometime before, wrote about it.
I was going to say, like, how did I not say Adam Smith? Yeah. Anyways, yeah. I mean, it's cool. I mean, if it were my hobby to spend 5 years doing my own house, yeah, I would build it. But it would take me 5 years to do it alone, and obviously that's not feasible. So I just have to admit to myself, spend the money and enjoy it. Spend more time enjoying it, or whatever.
Yeah, spend the time enjoying the lake instead of building the house by the lake.
Yeah.
Like,
see, that's the worst part. Let's just say you spend $500,000 on a house on the lake. How much does your boat have to cost? Because you can't live on the lake. And me, I'm happy with the piece of shit pontoon we have. But
stick with it then, man. I mean, I'm sat here, like we were talking about how we don't spend any money here anymore. I'm sat here drinking like a £7 bottle of wine here.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
I splurged. I bought a 12-pack of Sam Adams. A little spendy for my budget.
The classy stuff.
Usually just get a case of Busch Light for $15.
I was drinking Carling Premier for that extra kick during the Mayweather-McGregor fight. I ended up drinking. It's too smooth. I ended up drinking all of that and then opening a couple of bottles of wine. So
I'm going to have to get a bottle of High West before we go to Vegas.
Oh yeah, High West.
I should bring one with, actually.
Yeah, because like that's one tip actually in Vegas. Like they add like $15 to all the whiskey prices in the shops. It's like what?
Yeah,
I guess if you go like. I guess
I'll bring a bottle for the room. So you and Ben or whoever wants to come up.
I might bring something European over. I might bring an Armagnac over or something that you guys can't get over there for a reasonable price.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Get a nice Armagnac for 30 odd quid over here. Well, the one I tried actually, the one I had on the show, the one where Tiffany was on from Flojo. That Armagnac was only £37. I'd never tried it before. It was just some random one that I saw some good reviews for, and I hadn't bought one because I didn't think you could get Armagnac less than like £50. So like I saw one for 37 that had like 4.5 stars. I was like, that was pretty nice. But then like you guys would pay $120 for it because you know boats and demand and all that nonsense. So yeah, I'll bring an Armagnac over. So there you go, guys. There's going to be High West Double Rye, Armagnac. There's going to be some kind of pool nonsense. There's going to be random interviews on the streets with SEO people coming in and out the conference. It's going to be pretty. Take Garrett 6 weeks to edit that bad boy into an episode. So if you want to see it, you're better off just coming to Vegas and watching it live with us and having some beers and being on the show. Mike, don't tweet this just in case this does make it through the editing. So this will be a 6-week edit job for you, just cutting this bad boy down. LinkedIn right now is stupid as hell. The algorithm, they've updated the feed. You don't see what you want to see at all, so it's super frustrating if you're reading it, but it's super easy to take advantage of. And I've done a couple of posts just taking the mick, and they've been the most successful posts I've ever done on LinkedIn. It's insane. Just stupid things like, so you want to link to something to share it. If you just share it on LinkedIn, and even if loads of people like it in your immediate network, no one else will see it. Gets no reach, drives no traffic, no one sees it. Write a long post straight onto LinkedIn, which their algorithm's preferring, and put the link in the first comment. Fucking thing blows up because it doesn't look like a link share. They want to keep people on LinkedIn and they think you've shared a load of words on LinkedIn. But don't put it on LinkedIn's publishing platform. Just type it right into that box. Spank a load of plain text content into that box, and LinkedIn will give that more, and put the link to the actual article in the first comment. LinkedIn will give that more reach than you writing something properly on their publishing platform and sharing that with your audience. Second tip, people are doing, and it works, I've tested it. You put 2 sentences, really short phrases or sentences with a line in between. So you type a line, leave a gap, type another line, and they have to be something like, oh, it's really crazy when I think this, blah blah, and then to see what you're actually talking about, they have to click the more. People clicking the more is obviously engagement, so then your post, even if it doesn't get likes, gets way more reach.
Yeah, LinkedIn is so far behind.
It's insane, but if you want to just hack yourself, if you're publishing stuff properly on LinkedIn right now, you're an idiot. You should just take advantage of this stuff. Don't be a dick, though, about it. I mean, if you haven't actually got anything to say and you just want to get people to, you know, try and take advantage of it in a good way and get your best content out there by sharing your story and using these things better. Obviously, they're doing their own native video now, which is like super useless to use, but if you use their native video and you can be bothered going through the hassle of uploading it there instead of embedding YouTube, then more people will watch your video on there. Just play around for that stuff. I mean, I'm not going to bother with the video one at the moment. When I start doing some more short things, like after Vegas, we're going to have loads of short clips to upload. We're not going to embed the YouTube, because 30-second, 1-minute clips of us talking to people, leading marketers and stuff is going to be super cool and useful. So that's the kind of stuff we're going to be able to just really bite-size and upload to social media. So I'm not going to embed the YouTube clips of those. I'm going to be banging up the files because that's going to work on LinkedIn. So I don't like the link in the first comment one, but if you want to get your link in front of more people, that's how you do it. I don't like not being able to see what a thing's about until I click more, but making people click more to see what you're writing about, again, gets you more reach. And use LinkedIn's own video uploads instead of embedding YouTube, and you'll get tons more exposure at the minute. Use it sparingly, otherwise, you know, people will think you're a dick. But if you use it sparingly, you can definitely boost your engagement quite a lot. And that's actually a super useful don't tweet this tip for once from me, instead of my usual unplanned ramblings.
My tip would be objective. Going back to my rant earlier in the show, be honest with yourself and ask yourself, if you're one of these people offering advice, are you actually honestly sure of yourself, the advice you're giving? You know that you're giving advice to someone that's trying to like fix, most likely trying to like make extra money on the side and fix their life, and you're completely fucking with them if you don't know what you're saying. Don't be afraid to be hard on yourself. Acknowledge what you've done. Just really actively think about what you're saying in these online groups, because you can be really destroying and just spreading garbage. Just it's not good.
Yeah, I think that actually reminds me of the the guys, the way everyone says, "Oh, I did $200,000 this last 3 months or whatever," and it just kind of brought me back to what you were saying about when we was first trying to grow the business and we burned all that money. Like we could legitimately say, "Oh yeah, we did $200,000 this quarter," but like we made no money. We were spending it all.
Exactly. Like I would never say just because I had $500,000 in revenue doesn't mean I made any money. I could have lost $2 million.
I've been to an e-commerce conference where one of the speakers was like, "Oh, he's done 14 million in sales on e-commerce," and you know what the margins are on most e-commerce. I mean, so over like 8 years, he's sold a couple of million. So he's done a few hundred thousand, well, 100,000, 200,000 a year in profit in e-commerce, and he's speaking at a major conference. It's like, but they make it sound so impressive. Oh, he's done $14 million.
The idea is people don't look into it. Oh, he made $250,000.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's done all right. You know, I mean, I'm sure he's pretty beyond making.
He's probably made 50 grand, something like that. But like, it's not what it is. It's just psychological, whatever. Snake oil, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. You just got to realize it's a marketing act.
Yeah, I mean, so now you know we're much poorer than we pretend to be, and we pretend to be poor. So how poor are we actually? You know, leave you to whoever. The Donk of the Week T-shirt this week is whoever guesses how poor we are. Are we? Are we poorer than the e-commerce guy?
Hey, I'm fighting with the state of Minnesota over $1,600. That's how poor I am.
You go to the state of Minnesota $1,600.
No, they owe me.
They owe you. Oh.
And they refuse to give it. Because I'm not even. I could do a lot with that money. I could spend it on advertising.
That'd be nice, actually. Well, we've got a $1,900 bill possibly coming up if we decide to sponsor the drinks bar at the Ungagged. But
yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Any of you guys watching, if you want to answer in the comments, should we sponsor the drinks bar at Ungagged? If we get 4,000 likes, then I'll do it. If we get less than 4,000 likes, I'm probably just going to be out the bar and someone else can pay for my drinks. I think that's probably what I prefer. Yeah. So I'm going to meet all of you guys there anyway. I don't need to pay to meet you. Someone else can buy me a drink and I'll come say hello.
Yeah, I suppose it's that time. Let's wrap her up. It's great for all of you that tuned in. Hope you learned something with all the ranting. Might have been a little more philosophical than normal, but I think they are, even though they're rambling, some good points to take in that will honestly drive your SEO game to the next level. Seriously.
I think with all of you guys watching the edited version, you're like, what are you talking about? This is the crunchiest half hour I've ever watched. So yeah, the original edit was 6 hours long.
You can be good at SEO if you really want to make money, understand like life in general. SEO only gets us so far. But yeah, this is episode number 5. Just me and Steve. Good to see y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe,
smash that like button.
Yep, that's
smash what it is. Pound that smash button.
I can never remember what the hell it is, but yeah. See you next week. I think we actually have a good guest on the lineup, so it'll be fun.
Little tribute to PewDiePie, Sister Fister,
Vape Nation.
Vape Nation. HD
All
Productions.
Right, see you guys.
See you guys.